2018 was an important year for Xbox. This was the year where Phil Spencer and the team at Xbox and Microsoft, they basically got things back on track for the future. They did a lot of things to basically solidify Microsoft as being a true competitor for next year, for the next generation, I should say. It's clear that Sony has won this generation, and I think Microsoft, the guys at Microsoft, Phil Spencer, I think he knows it at this point. I mean, judging by what he said at the Game Awards on Thursday, how he said that, yeah, we had a great year, and they did. They had a pretty decent year, but they could do better. I can't really say that Phil Spencer was wrong about that. They can do better. And it seems like they've taken strides this year, taken a lot of strides this year to make sure that they're going to do a lot better next year than next generation, I should say, than what they did this generation. They did a lot this year. They acquired a bunch of studios. They had a bunch of studio acquisitions. They acquired Undead Labs, Ninja Theory, Obsidian, Compulsion Games. They acquired a lot of studios, and it's been a problem for a while that Xbox, because one of the things that you'll hear from the YouTube gaming community is Xbox has no games. You'll hear that a lot, and truth be told, they don't. The problem is that they didn't have a lot of studios, unlike Sony and unlike Nintendo. Their problem was they didn't have enough game studios, and so what you were seeing was Halo, Gears, and Forza year in and year out, or on a bi-yearly or annual basis, and that might appeal to a certain section of gamers, but they needed a better portfolio of games. They needed more diversity, and they've been trying to do that this console generation with games like Sea of Thieves, State of Decay, Sunset Overdrive, ReCore, Quantum Break, but they didn't really have a lot of success with that. Even this year, when it comes to the games that they came out with this year, they didn't really have too much of a success with the games that they just came out with this year alone. Sea of Thieves, State of Decay, those games didn't really review well. Their Metacritic scores, I believe, are like 68, 67, something like that. The best reviewed game for Microsoft this year, and it shouldn't be a surprise to anybody, was Forza Horizon 4, and it's the best racing game, or at least that's what I've been hearing. It's the best racing game out there. And even though their exclusives this year, their exclusives this year haven't been that great, but at least they can say that they had the best racing game on the market. At least they can say that Xbox Game Pass, that has been a huge success. And I believe I said this either at the beginning of the year or maybe it was last year when they first announced Game Pass. Whenever they announced it, I knew this was going to be a big deal, and I knew that honestly it's great. It's great. Like if you're somebody that has kids or somebody who is gaming on a budget, Xbox Game Pass, 100 games for a very low price of $10 a month. That's pretty good. And they've been definitely pushing Xbox Game Pass, especially at their Xbox XO event that was in I believe it was last month. Their XO event, they were pushing Game Pass a lot at that conference, and I can see why they're doing that. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are subscribing to Xbox Game Pass. I mean, I'm even thinking about doing it, or at least for a few months next year for Crackdown. I mean, Xbox Game Pass, that's definitely a win for Microsoft, because you can say all that you want about Sea of Thieves and State of Decay, their games output when it comes to this year. But Xbox Game Pass was definitely a big win for them. Another big win for them was this Xbox Game Compatibility controller. This disability controller for disabled gamers. This adaptive controller that actually it works not only for Xbox console, it works for the Switch also, I believe. And I think you might be able to use it for PlayStation 4. I'm not sure about that. But it goes to show you that Microsoft is just, they don't care, and it seems like they don't care whether you're gaming on the Xbox, whether you're gaming on the PC or whatever. They just want to make sure that people are able to game, regardless of if you have a disability or whatever your situation is, or whatever. They want to get their games out there, and I think they've said in the past that they also want to get Xbox Game Pass. They want to get it in anywhere. They want to put this on any device. If it's possible in the future, they might want to put it on PlayStation 4. They might want to put it on the Switch, even though that those are their direct competitors, Sony and Nintendo. If Sony and Nintendo would allow it, I wouldn't be surprised if Nintendo. I wouldn't be surprised if Microsoft gets their stuff, wants to put their stuff on the other consoles, and it's not a bad idea. Other than that, I say overall, I thought Microsoft had a pretty decent year. They could have done better when it came to just getting better quality games out there, but I believe the best is going to be coming going forward, 2019, 2020. I think 2020 is when we're going to see Xbox firing on all cylinders. Because like I said, these studio acquisitions means that they're basically going to be they basically have a bunch of big games in development. It's already been long rumored about Fable. We got The Initiative, the big studio, the big AAA studio that they announced at E3 that they started up at, I think, Santa Monica. There's all these big studio acquisitions that we have to look forward to, their games and stuff. From Ninja Theory especially, they're a great studio. And there's even a rumor about Microsoft grabbing one of the studios that have worked so closely with Sony. So it's definitely looking bright for Xbox's future. As far as this year goes, it was a pretty decent year. It's definitely better than the last 2 years, in my opinion, for Xbox. And oh yeah, before I forget, they had a great E3. They definitely had a great E3. I don't care what anyone says. I think Microsoft won E3, and I was very surprised. It was one of the best E3s that they've had ever. Period. Like they showed game after game after game, and I know some people might argue that, okay, they didn't show a lot of exclusives, but they did show Forza, they did show Gears 5, they showed, they showed some exclusives, they showed Halo Infinite, but they didn't, but, some people, they're going to make that argument of, okay, Microsoft, those games, you can play them on PC, so they're technically not exclusives, but when we're just talking about consoles, we're just talking strictly about consoles, they showed exclusives, and they also showed a bunch of great third-party games, and they showed that they're getting third-party support from both, Japan, Western. You're getting it everywhere they can get it. So overall, Xbox, Microsoft, they had a pretty decent year. I'd say I'd probably give Microsoft, if I had to give them a sort of rating for this year or whatever, I would probably give them like I'd give them like a 7.5. If they would have came out, if Crackdown would have came out this year instead of being delayed, maybe they would have gotten an 8, because at least that would mean they would have had like four big exclusives. Instead, they only had 3, and 2 of them, like I said, 68s on Metacritic, I believe. So overall, they got to get better games out there. And as far as the services goes, like I said, with Xbox Game Pass and everything they're doing there, they're killing it when it comes to that. But they need to just get better games out there, and they'll be fine. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought about Xbox and Microsoft this year. Like the video, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. This has been Fear No Hate. I'm out of here. Peace.